Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the March 10th, 2025 Stillwater City Council meeting. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, we have several proclamations and presentations today. The first one up is item 3A, the Sunshine Week proclamation. I'm going to start, I'll go ahead and read the proclamation, and then Carol, have you come up and talk, okay? Whereas James Madison, the father of our federal Constitution, wrote that consent of the governed requires that the people be able to arm themselves with the power which knowledge gives. And whereas every citizen in our participatory democracy has an inherent right to access government meetings and public records, and whereas an open and accessible government is vital to establishing and maintaining the people's trust and confidence in their government and in the government's ability to effectively serve its citizens, and whereas the protection of every person's right to access to public records and government meetings is a priority of the Stillwater City Council, and whereas the Stillwater City Council is committed to openness and transparency in all aspects of its operations and seeks to set a high standard in this regard. Whereas the Stillwater City Council commits during this Sunshine Week commemorating the anniversary of James Madison's birth and throughout the year to work diligently to enhance the public's access to government records and information, to increase information provided electronically and online, and to ensure that all meetings of deliberative bodies under its jurisdiction are fully noticed and open to the public. Now, therefore, I, Amy Jaloski, Vice Mayor of Stillwater, Oklahoma, do hereby proclaim the week of March 16th through March 22nd, 2025 as Sunshine Week in Stillwater. Carol, do you have a few words to say?
I'm Carol Anderson, representing the Stillwater League of Women Voters, and it's been our tradition to celebrate Sunshine Week by making presentations not only to the City Council, but the Stillwater School Board and the Payne County Commissioners. And you took most of my speech
by reading
sorry.
All that.
But that's good.
That's
great. And of course, we honor James Madison for his Bill of Rights. It's great work on coming up with the Bill of Rights, the first 10 amendments. And so when they wanted to celebrate and publicize the Freedom of Information Act, and in Oklahoma we have an Open Records Act and an Open Meetings Act also, and they're not that old. Now, James Madison was born in 1751, but it wasn't until 1967 that the Freedom of Information Act became effective. It was signed a year earlier by President Lyndon Johnson. The Oklahoma had an Open Meetings Act for quite a few years. The earliest one I could find was 1959, but the current one was signed into law in 1977 by Governor David Bourne. And I am delighted that you all have been trained and follow and know what open records, sunshine, letting people know what's happening in their democracy. And I thank you. And you've all signed pledges, and I thank you for that.
We
too.
have. We've all signed pledges
Okay.
acknowledging our commitment to
Okay.
transparency in local government. I'm always grateful for you all when you come each year to remind us of just how important this is.
Yes,
And
I have two
commitment.
other members of the League of Women Voters here, Jan Largent and Beth. So.
Wonderful. Do you want to do a picture?
Okay. Look, you have them. And the flags.
Come on, Jan, step in there.
Next up, we have a presentation from the Citizens Academy class, the 10th Citizens Academy class.
Mr. Driscoll is going to be up here in a second to do this. We have some family today joining us. Alrighty, good evening, Council, Vice Mayor. Thanks for having us here tonight. Like I said, this is our Citizens Academy class number 10, so thankfully we've been able to host this class for going on, I think this is our 9th year, but our 10th class. One year we were able to host 2 classes, but thankfully this is our 10th year. I think it gets better and better every year, but just like to thank you guys for having us here tonight. I'd like to take a moment and recognize and thank the participants of the class for participating. They spent 6 weeks with us, obviously away with their family. Obviously, they brought some of them here tonight with us, but we're thankful they're here. They gave up a full Saturday, that was just this past Saturday, to go through scenarios in a firearms demonstration at the rifle range, gun range at the PDs. They learned more about the Stillwater Police Department and then to work about what our team does on a day-to-day basis, and not only just police officers, but parking, animal control, property, and as well as dispatch. From learning the basics of our department history and structure to diving into criminal investigations, SWAT and K-9 operations. I think that was probably their fun night, was seeing all the dogs. The dogs are the big hit, so we really enjoy them. All the way to hearing a couple stories of officer-involved shootings that we've had, a couple of our officers have been involved in, as well as officer mental health. That's a high priority for us. Patrol, and then obviously with our SEMA group as well. They got the behind-the-scenes look at nearly every other corner of our agency. They capped off their experience this past Saturday with the real-life scenarios that we got to put them in 4 different scenarios, as well as spending time at the range. Just a reminder, you guys are not certified cops, so it's got to put that little caveat in there. They were like wanting to go out and arrest people. That does not happen. We saw the way some of them acted, but they did really well. We're really proud of them. Also want to extend a sincere appreciation to the men and women of the Stillwater Police Department who took time out of their already busy schedules to help teach, demonstrate, and guide this class. Without them, this class wouldn't be where it is today, and I'm very thankful to work alongside the men and women here. And I also want to thank you guys again for making Citizens Academy Class 10 a success, and I hope you guys enjoyed it and got to learn a little bit about us. I look forward to going on and hopefully get some more council members. I know some of you guys have been through it, but some other ones haven't been through it yet. Maybe a city attorney through it. So, not putting you on the spot. But,
No pressure.
yeah, but definitely appreciate it. And we thank you guys for having us here tonight. But this is Class 10. So thank you.
As you all are leaving, I just want to extend our council's thank you to our police department as well as to citizens that joined that program. It's a great opportunity for civic engagement, and it's great to see familiar faces and so many that want to be involved in that program. Wait for a closed door and a little quiet. All right. With that, we'll move on to item 4, the consent docket. Counselors, any action, questions, or motion on the consent docket?
Motion to accept consent docket?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the consent docket. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, the consent docket is approved. With that, we will move on to item 7, public hearings. Item 7A is a request to receive public comment regarding a text amendment to Stillwater City Code, Chapter 23, Land Development Code. My Roman numerals. Article, David?
16.
Subdivision preparation and requirements. Division 2, major subdivisions, Section 23 through 327. Contents of the final plat, repealing all ordinance to the contrary and providing for severability and declaring an emergency. Mr. David Barth. Oh, actually, no. Do I need to open the public hearing first?
You have a short presentation, right? And then we can open the public
Okay.
hearing after that. We do have good notice for this item.
Thank you.
Yes, good evening, David Barth with Development Services. Good evening, Vice Mayor and councilors. And tonight, like you said, to present a text amendment to Chapter 23, the Land Development Code, Article 16, Subdivision Preparation and Requirements, Division 2, Major Subdivisions, Section 23-327, Contents of the Final Plat. Our current code says that the contents of the final plat shall include many things, and one of those is that the blocks numbered consecutively throughout the entire subdivision and that the lots are numbered consecutively throughout each block. And there are times when we have very complicated projects that are phased over many years that might have other actions that are related to that, such as project plans or TIFs or TIDs, where things are already defined in a certain way. And so then when we want to consider a plat, it just makes the most sense in a rare circumstance to have the numbering that is not consecutively numbered. And so the proposed text amendment, we're still honoring that we want things numbered consecutively, but in rare circumstances, we need that flexibility. And so the text amendment would say, it would add the language, unless otherwise approved in writing by the Development Services Director, the blocks numbered consecutively throughout the entire subdivision and the lots numbered consecutively throughout each block. With that, I would ask if you have any questions for staff.
Counselors, any questions?
So if we don't happen to have a Development Services Director at any given time, no one else can make that exception?
I don't know. I think our code somehow, there's lots of places where it refers to our Development Services Director, and we did not have a Development Services Director for a long time. We've had Community Development Directors or other people, so I believe that our code probably allows for another designee to make those decisions.
Yeah, likely the city manager would have the same authority. So
All right.
It shouldn't be a problem.
All right, thank you. I was wondering if it should say or designee, but that'll work too.
Okay, at this time, I will open the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak on this item? I don't think so. I don't have anything. Then I will close the public hearing and ask for staff's recommendation.
So the Planning Commission recommended approval of the proposed text amendment with a 5-0 vote, and staff also makes that recommendation.
Councilors, we have an ordinance on this later in our agenda, but we'll go ahead and I'll ask for a motion on or action on this item.
I move approval of the Planning Commission recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, this action is accepted. Ms. Carnley, do we need to vote on the emergency clause?
No, we'll consider the emergency clause when you consider first read of the ordinance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. With that, we'll move on to the next item on the agenda, which is item 8A, resolutions. A resolution number CC-2025-5, a resolution amending the City of Stillwater building permit fee schedule, specifically adding a temporary occupancy certificate and fixture stocking fee to the fee schedule.
Good
Mr. Matthews.
Thank you. Good evening, Vice Mayor and Council. Jeff Matthews, Building and Fire Code Services. These fees were brought before the Builders Relation Committee several times, and recently they unanimously approved these. They do a couple of things. One is help us to continue to accommodate builders and occupants for these special circumstances where a TCO or fixture stocking allowance is needed. While they also help with some accountability to see that these are completed, that we are moving them all the way to a complete certificate of occupancy. The fees help with that. The fees also help we have a number of staff that are involved with this process. We have, with a commercial project, 6 to 7 different departments or attached departments that are involved in this, as well as administrative services who processes these TCOs and fixture stocking allowances. And so these fees seem to really, we believe, are going to help with that process. The builders and developers are also very accustomed to this with other municipalities. In fact, one builder that was part of the Builders Relation Committee had stated that he felt like these fees were very reasonable compared to what they're used to. So we would ask for your approval tonight, but I'll yield at this time. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Counselors, any questions for staff?
Just curious,
Uh-huh.
and this is my own kind of stupidity, but fixture stocking fee,
Sure.
Explain what that is.
That's not super common, but what we do is occasionally we'll have people, in fact, we recently had an out-of-state contractor that came in and did a convenience store, and what happens many times with mercantile, grocery, convenience stores, they're needing to get shelving and things in place prior to actually being prepared for occupancy. And in order to do that, we still have to go ahead and evaluate the structure. We have to send inspectors on site because there will be things that are covered up. And so that takes a little time, and then we'll go ahead and give them a fixture. If we believe it's necessary, we'll give them a fixture stocking allowance. At that point, they can bring in a construction crew that's OSHA regulated, and go ahead and put in the shelving and all the equipment. So that's what that is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Counselors, is there any action or further discussion on this item?
Motion to adopt resolution CC-2025-5.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, that resolution is adopted.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. This brings us to item number 9, ordinances on our agenda. On first read, we have item 9A, ordinance number 3561, an ordinance amending Stillwater City Code by amending Chapter 23, Land Development Code, Article 16, Subdivision Preparation and Requirements, Division 2, Major Subdivisions, Section 23 through 327, contents of the final plat, repealing all ordinances to the contrary and providing for severability and declaring an emergency. This is from our public hearing earlier. Counselors, any action or motion on this ordinance?
I move to advance ordinance 3561 to second reading.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to advance to second read. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, the ordinance is advanced to second read. Is there any action on the emergency clause?
I move declaration of an emergency relative to ordinance 3561.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, the emergency clause is enacted. This brings us to ordinances on second read. Ordinance number 3557, an ordinance rezoning a tract of land located at 5599 West 6th Avenue from 2-family and multifamily RTM and commercial general CG to 2-family and multifamily RTM. This was from our last meeting, I believe, near the O'Reilly Auto Parts facility. Counselors, any action or motion?
Motion to adopt ordinance 3557.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 3557. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, that ordinance is adopted. The next ordinance for second read is ordinance number 3558, an ordinance amending the Stillwater City Code by amending Chapter 2, Administration, Article Article 6, Financial Affairs, Division 1, generally by amending Section 2 through 586, sale of surplus, obsolete, etc., city property by amending the notice requirement to allow for notice on the City of Stillwater website for disposition of surplus or obsolete property, repealing all ordinances to the contrary, and providing for severability. Counselors, any discussion or action on this ordinance?
Motion to adopt ordinance number 3558.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, ordinance number 3558 is adopted. The last ordinance on second read is ordinance number 3559, an ordinance closing a portion of rights-of-way located at north and east of Lot 4, Northgate Commercial Area, first section in Section 25, Township 20 North, Range 2 East, on property addressed at 5021 North Perkins. Counselors.
Move to adopt ordinance 3559.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 3559. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, that motion is adopted. The brings us to item 10 on our agenda, the Board of Adjustments. Is there an appointment in here?
She's got a report.
Thank you. We have a candidate for appointment to the Board of Adjustments, Rob Lamaker, to a new 3-year term on the Board of Adjustment that will expire in March 2028. Counselors.
I move to appoint Rob Lamaker to the Board of Adjustment.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to appoint Rob Lamaker to the Board of Adjustment. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, Mr. Lamaker is appointed to the Board of Adjustment. We thank him for his service. That brings us to item 11, reports from officers and boards. Ms. Carnley.
Nothing to report.
Mr. Moore.
Yes, the annual Trash Off event will be Saturday, March 29th from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. noon. We ask that volunteers RSVP by March 27th so we can provide work gloves, safety vests, and trash bags. Volunteers will meet at Couch Park Pavilion at 1270 East Alcott Drive. For more information or to RSVP, you can call Chris Franks at 405-533-8482 or email chris.franks@stillwaterok.gov. This is a great opportunity to serve the community and help remove trash from our parks and just clean up different areas around the park. So we love that community support, and so we hope you can help us out.
Councilor Hawkins.
If you're looking for a way to reduce your water bill that is also environmentally friendly, you may want to purchase a rain barrel through the City of Stillwater. Rain barrels capture water from your roof and store it for future use. This also helps reduce stormwater pollution by minimizing the amount of runoff that leaves the site. To order a rain barrel, go online to stillwaterok.gov/stormwater before April 28th.
Councilor Clark.
On the April 1 ballot, voters will see a proposition for a new animal welfare facility. Stillwater Animal Welfare is an essential function of safety and emergency response efforts under the police department, with certified officers trained to safeguard public health and eliminate neglect and abuse of animals. They received nearly 5,000 calls for service in 2024, which is almost 1,000 more than the previous year. The need is growing and will continue to do so. Some of the services that animal welfare provides are adoptions and reunifications, population control through spay and neutering, removal of deceased animals in public spaces and roadways, investigation of animal-related neglect, nuisance, and bite cases, microchipping and vaccinations for rescued animals, education for pet owners, and code enforcement. Please visit the website to see renderings for a new facility, the floor plan that includes additional space for kennels and catteries, medical and community areas, and much more. Go to stillwaterok.gov/animal welfare.
Thank you. Counselor Harden.
Please mark your calendar for the annual Household Hazardous Waste event on Saturday, April 26th from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Convenience Collection Center. This is an opportunity to dispose of oil-based paint, pesticides, herbicides, mixed fuels, and other hazardous materials for free. The Convenience Center is located at 807 South Perkins Road. It will also be open for business as usual during this time. Please visit the city's website at stillwaterok.gov for a full list of items that will be accepted.
Thank you. And I will remind everyone that the annual Mid-South Endurance Race and events are this week, beginning Thursday, March 13th at 3 p.m. through Sunday, March 16th. We're excited to welcome all Mid-South participants and visitors. Please know we will have some temporary road closures in areas of town during the race, and traffic may move a little slower at times. You may want to allow additional travel time and watch out for cyclists, runners, and walkers in and near the roadways. For a schedule of events, go to midsouthgravel.com. We hope everyone has a fun-filled and safe weekend. It's one of my favorite weekends in Stillwater. It's awesome to see so many people come and kind of fill our downtown and fill our community. So
It's always fun to
welcome.
go down and cheer for people coming in.
It really
So,
is.
It's a lot of fun.
Okay, with that, I think we're through our city council agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, our city council meeting is adjourned. With that, I will open the Stillwater Utilities Authority meeting. Move to item 2, the consent docket. Is there a motion on the consent docket?
Motion to approve consent docket.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Trustees, please vote. With a vote of 4-0, the consent docket is approved. That is the extent of our agenda for the utilities meeting today. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn. Please vote. With a vote of 4-0, we are adjourned. Oh, yes.
All right.